if you did it with an open hand D or a closed fist, I wouldn't be able to pick that up. But they said that's a common mistake, and so I wanted to correct it. And he touched his ear first, then his mouth, and so with just the index finger. So I want to make sure that that's correct. I watched another guy. Just some common terms when it comes to the deaf culture is CODA, CODA. If somebody says they're a CODA, that means they're a child of a deaf adult. And so their parent, either one or both their parents are deaf, and that qualifies them as a CODA. I was watching this gentleman, he's a CODA, and he signed the word deaf. I watched him because I went back and watched it 2 or 3 times to make sure I saw it right. He signed the word deaf, and he touched his mouth in his ear. But this other deaf guy who's a deaf teacher himself said you want to touch your ear first. And so some people aren't going to make a big deal about it, but when you're learning their language, I'd rather err on the side of the deaf gentleman who is taking that time to teach it. So just closed fist, going like that. And then home is, I said you could go either way. You can touch your mouth or your cheek first, and it doesn't matter. But I looked it up, or I was corrected, and it's always from the front of your mouth and then your ear. So I said you could go both ways, but when you're talking about home, you're going to touch your mouth first because you eat and sleep, but it's going to be in that direction, and it's not going to ever be the other way. So again, I apologize. And so those are the 2 that I remembered. But what I want to do before we get into some of this, I did want to just kind of go over some things that aren't necessarily in the book right away. We talked about family, and so I'm just going to go over a few family things. See if you guys can tell me what I'm saying. What is this? Father, mother, because the masculine's on top, feminine's on bottom, right? And so if you go like that, what is that? Grandpa, grandfather, grandma. And then we talked about if I go like this and then like that, marriage, but more specifically wife, because I signed woman first. Same thing, husband. And then we talked about if I do this, my cousin, my male cousin. If I'm doing it down here, it's female cousin. Did a U right here, uncle. And then if I do an A down here, it's aunt, right? And I saw you signing family, so very good. Make the F, and it's like the circle of life, right? Family there. It's important. It's important. Family is important. Amen. So good job. And I think so. We may have a twin. I think we even went over twin. You make a T, and you just go over your mouth. It's symmetrical. So you're signing twin. Yeah. We didn't go over, and I recognized this week, was niece, nephew, and in-laws. And so niece, again, this is where the masculine, feminine really comes in, because if you make an N, just like cousin or uncle, if you make an N, but it's up here by your temple, that's your nephew. But if you make that N down here, that's your niece. And then in-laws, so your hand, this is anything to do with laws is going to be your hand. So if you make a C and you go like that, you're talking about commandments. Not a command out of your mouth, but commandments. And so oftentimes in a church setting, you'll talk about the 10 commandments. But an L going like that is law. And then, so that's just it's a standard, right? And so when you're talking about maybe your brother-in-law or your father-in-law, mother-in-law, what is it? Yeah. Yeah. And so that's a sign for law. And so if I said my mother-in-law, you don't always, I don't know if it's technical, if you have to sign in. Hey, love, I'm glad you're back in. For mother-in-law, do I have to sign in or just mother-in-law? Yeah, mother-in-law. All right, and then father-in-law, you'd sign dad-law. Or brother-in-law, you'd sign boy. Those are the brothers and sister. Boy, same. But you could say, you'd say boy, which is, you have to do both signs. Or brother-in-law. Or your sister, right? Because of the bonnet sister, same, and then law. So that's how you talk about in-laws. Now, I also have up here, because this is man and woman. So right by itself, that's mom. But if you touch chest, that's woman. So because of that, um, and because of masculine and feminine and all of that, just a fun fact, the sign name for Adam, when it comes to Adam and Eve in the Bible, Adam is going to be, just like that. Just up here, right off the side with an A hand for Adam. And then Eve, make an E, and on the bottom hand by your cheek. And so that's Adam because that's the first man, and then Eve, first woman. So that's the sign name given to them. And so that's just a fun fact there. And then what I want to go into is basic, or the pronouns. And so I is you're just going to point at yourself. I. And that's I. And then anything open hand, I think I mentioned anything open hand is possessive. And so if I go like this and I point, this is we. And because what I'm doing is I'm starting with me and I'm encircling all of the group. I'm pointing at every one of you when I say that. So that's we, right? So I, then we. Now our, and this isn't in any good order. I just, as I remembered these different words. So I, and then we, then our, because our is possessive. It's not just talking about we're doing something, but it's talking about our. And so open hand, same thing as we, but you're going to go like that. That's our. And then to say you, I'm just going to point at you. And growing up, I was taught it's rude to point at people. In sign language, different culture, it's not rude to point at people when you're talking about them. And so pointing just to say you just point directly at them. And again, sign language is a directional language. And so if I point at Miss Rianne, I'm talking about Miss Rianne. If I point to Daniel, I'm talking to Daniel. And so it's very specific when it comes to you. And then your, open hand, your. I'm going to say your. If I'm talking, that's again, you, your, open hand. He and she, again, same thing as you. He, she, you just point. Point at the person. They, you're going to, like if I'm talking about the group on this side, and I'm going to say they. Because it's kind of like the we, I'm pointing at everybody. You point at the whole group. So that's they. Then me is the same thing as I. I, me. But when I say my, that's possessive. So I'm going to go like this. And so yours, my, or mine. Now this is where it gets just slightly different. So when it talks about self, it's your thumb. And so if I'm talking about yourself, I'm going to point to you like that. Not just your, but if I say yourself, hey, who's doing that? Well, you are, or I don't know correct grammar when it comes to English even. But yourself is going to be like that. I don't know why I'm picking on you, Miss Rianne. I'm using you. But themselves, you're going to go like that, with just that. But when it comes to ourselves, I'm pulling a blank. Hey, love. Ourselves. Is it with the A? Just ourselves. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. So say the word, but that's the same thing. When you're talking about yourself or ourselves, you're going to go like that. And so it's I, me, myself, and then you, your, we, because you're pointing at everybody, or our, because you're including the whole group. And so those are those signs there. Any questions on those real quick? It's okay to have questions. All right. And those are just basic words and understandings. Some words I want to just go over that aren't necessarily in the book right here. The word for sign is you're going to go like this. Sign. And that's when you're talking about the street sign or sign language. So when I say sign language, I'll go sign language. I'll make it L. That's language. So when you're saying sign language, you'll say sign language. Now, if you watch deaf people, sometimes they'll say that. Sometimes they'll go like that. And because what they're talking about is sign communication. And so you won't always see it like that. When you're talking about sign language itself, oftentimes it's like that. But when deaf people are talking, about communicating and using sign, they'll go like that. And so you'll see both, even amongst the deaf. And so just know that it's either like that or like that. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Forward, backward. That one I did have to clarify. It's either way. Yes, ma'am. And again, if you're right-handed, your primary hand will be right. If you're left-handed, your primary hand will be left. And so that's why some of that doesn't matter. People could go either way. Sign could go either way. I've seen deaf people do both. Did you have a question? Your body language. So what we're learning in ASL 1 is vocabulary. But in sign language itself as a whole, your facial responses and your body language all matter and is part of the meaning. I told you guys I watched this guy online to kind of help improve my own signing, and he signed the same sentence, same signs, 4 different ways. But it was the same signs, but his facial responses determined 4 different sentences. One of them was a question. I think it was he was asking. The statement was, "Is this class long?" And the first time he did it, and this is where I'm learning that level 2, 3, and 4, where your facial responses matter. The way he signed it was, "This class long," and it was like, and I forget. I think technically you lower your eyebrows naturally. I want to raise my eyebrows. That's what I'm learning, so I don't want to teach that yet because it's just ASL 1. But the way he did it, you understood. He's asking the question, "Is this class long?" Then he signed the same exact way, but he changed his facial responses, and he explained that was actually asking, "How long is this class?" And he was asking for 45 minutes, 1 hour. And then another one was just a statement. "This class is long." Like, prepare, get comfortable, use the cushion. This class is long. And then the 4th way he signed it was almost like a complaint. "Man, this class is long." But it was all same sign, but different facial responses. And so that's something to again, I didn't grow up in theatrics. And so when I first started learning, making facial responses was awkward for me. I was embarrassed by it. And I'm not very good at them even now, but when I get in a group of deaf people, they naturally start coming out. And a lot of times, it's funny, somebody who didn't grow up in it, we can hear, and so a lot of times you'll see a lot of deaf people, or even people just signing, and they'll blow out their cheeks. And we can hear that little, deaf people can't. To them, it's just a facial response. But to hearing, we hear all these, noises, and it can be awkward sometimes. But that's part of their culture, part of their language. That's what we're learning. So don't be afraid to get involved with your face, but I'm just not the best teacher on facial responses right now myself. So just ask Charity. So anyways, that's sign. And just a few other words I wanted to kind of go over. The word for like is, so you could say, "I like," and you're just going to gently pull it off. With your index finger and your thumb, or not index, I'm sorry, your feeling finger. Again, that's your feeling finger. So you can say, "I like," and whatever it is you're saying. Like, "I like sign language." You could say "like." Now, the word for hate there's 2 different variances that I know of. One is you're going to say "like," but you're going to throw it away. And some people don't do that first part. They just flick it away. Because you're saying, "I like something," but if you're saying, I don't like you, I hate you, but the disgust on your face, and you flick it away, that's hate. But again, I usually sign "like" and then throw it away. But you'll see both variances. And so, again, if a deaf person corrects you, go with them. There's regional differences. I saw a professional teacher. He's a deaf guy. He's a professional teacher. And he signed "tree" for another complete other word. And I thought, I looked at that, I was like, he just signed "tree." What does that even mean? That doesn't match what the subtitle said, so I looked down the comments, and there was all kinds of comments about, what region are you from? Because I saw tree, I saw tree, I saw tree. And but there's regional differences. So if somebody corrects you, by all means, if a deaf person corrects you, go with them. So love, so we did like, dislike, and hate. So the difference between dislike and hate is going to be your facial responses. And like you were talking about, you yourself is going to be how passionate you are about it. And if you go, it's going to be, that's gross, I don't like that food. But if you get all passionate, like you're in an argument, this is another thing. Because the signing is involving your emotions, just because a deaf person looks like they're yelling at you, that doesn't actually mean they're mad at you. I could tell you in English, I really don't like you right now. I am fed up. I'm angry at you. I'm mad at you. And I could say it that calmly. But for a deaf person to actually accurately say that, like I could say that and say, I really don't like you right now, but you're still my friend. A deaf person is going to have to say, hey, it's going to involve everything. They're going to say, I really hate you right now. But they're not actually mad at you. But they have to get that sign across. And so then they'll get, and they're blunt. Deaf people are blunt. They don't have the luxury of what's the word I'm looking for? Yes. So if they don't like your hair, and you walk up, they'll tell you, who did your hair? Man, your hair is funny looking. And they'll tell you, and they don't think they're being rude, because they get talked to like that all the time as well. And so if they don't like that you're doing something, they'll just tell you. And so it's unique. But anyway, so like, dislike, hate, love is going to be that. That's love. So if you love something, but now if you go like this, so your pinky, index, and thumb out, that means I love you. And I could point that, again, directional. If I point at one person, I'm saying I love you. But a lot of deaf people, when they're saying bye to a whole group, they'll go like that. And they're just saying, that's a common gesture, but they're saying I love you all. And you could point to this group here. You point to this group here. But that's I love you by itself. That's the whole sign there. But to love something, that's a sign, basic sign for love. Now, as you get more advanced, when you're talking about something that you're just really passionate about, and just something that, like for instance, and the example that comes to my mind, I'm not trying to Christianize this class by any means, but I am a pastor. When I think of my love for the Bible, what a lot of people do is they're going to kiss the back of their hand and then go like that. And it's like this powerful umph. And so sometimes I'll even, like with my wife, instead of just telling her I love her, I'll go like that. And but kissing the back of your palm and then going like that, that's a passionate way of saying you really, really, you love something. And often, and I've seen it used in this way as well, in the scenario of a soldier loving the flag. That I've seen that sign represented like that as well. Yes, ma'am. Like, you're just gonna pull it off. Yeah. So I like cats. So that's like. And then dislike is you're going to throw it away. Yeah. So we talked about this being important. Like when you make the whole circle, that's valuable, that's important, but something that's worthless, you start the circle, but you just kind of throw it away. And so that's the idea there. You're throwing, something here, something is worth to you, has value, but something that is worthless, you just throw it away. Same thing with like, you're throwing it away. Like and then dislike. And then again, the sign for word. For instance, that was one that came very handy to me when I first started learning and I was around deaf people. I would ask, how do you sign the word? And that's word. So one finger up and you're taking your index and it's like the G hand, but you're just going like that. The reason being is because that's the smallest part of a sentence. And so when you get, just fun fact, this is word, but then just like a verse, for instance, like when you're talking about a Bible, that's a word, verse, you take that same thing and you're going to go like that. Because it's just one line, that's a verse. Chapter is you make a C, and it's the whole paragraph, or the whole thing. And so that's why that's what that means. So word is the smallest point. It's at the top. It's just one small point. And then verse, or one sentence, if you will. And then the whole paragraph or the whole chapter is down because you're just saying all of this. But I would ask, the word, and then I would finger spell whatever it was. And then they would teach me that sign. And so I thought it was very helpful to know the word for word. And so that's word. Another one, how. You're going to go like this. How. We'll get into the who, what, when, where, how, whys. But again, talking about the grammar, we say, how are you? But in sign language, all they say is how you. And that's they're asking how, because again, are, is, they don't use those. And so it's how you. Now they'll say how, some of them will say how are you, and that's how we would still interpret that, is how are you. But it's just two signs, how you. How much, again, how, and then much. That's just fun fact, it's not in the book, but I want to kind of go over some of these basic. The more grammar you know, or the more vocabulary you know, you're going to want to start putting them into sentences. And that's why I'm going kind of over these things now, because you could say, I like, and we're going to go over food here in a moment. So you're going to be like, I like bananas. And so you're going to be able to start making some elementary sentences once you have an understanding of these words with the vocabulary that we're going over. So if anybody ever has questions, just let me know. But yeah, how are you? Just to answer that question, how are you? Then if you go like this and put your dominant hand at your chin and your less dominant hand, that's good. Palm up, that's good. Now, bad is it's like, to me, I think of spanking. You're bad. And so good is the opposite. Good is palm up. That's usually an offering as a gift. That's something good. When somebody is handing you something open hand, that's a good thing. But when they're coming down, and again, depending on how strongly emphasized you do that, that was bad. Or you could say, and you get really emphatic with it. And so just if somebody asks you, how are you? You can say, I'm good. You don't have to say I. You can just say good. You can say I'm good. But again, that comes, that's the little things. It's not exact English. So anyway, so we went over that. Does anybody want a review of these items here, the first through 4, pages 1 through 15? What's that? Household items? Yes, and so that is going to be on page 10. Yeah, we'll do a quick review on 10. Again, signifiers, house, you just make a house. And then bedroom, bedroom. And then bathroom, like that. Door, now this was on the one I had struggled with, door. And again, you're opening the door, closing the door. Window, you're opening the window, closing the window. Light is you're going to go like that. Sometimes if a deaf person says, hey, turn on the lights, and then, or if they say, hey, the lights are ready to go off, they'll retract it. And so in this book, light is like that. You'll also see it like that. The sun, you circle and go like that. And so context really comes into play here, because just going like this means shower. But to do it once, that means, hey, the light's on, right? And so context of what you're being talking about is going to be helpful. But in here, the book, light. Now, very rare, just fun fact, very rare. I'm not sure the meaning behind it, but you'll see somebody flick their chin, and they're talking about light. And I don't understand that one, but that's light. Some of these signs, but table, you make a table with your arms. Hammock, my favorite, you get your H's, and you make a hammock. Bed, again, is like this. talking about your physical bed, but to actually sleep, you're going to close your eyes. A stove, you're sticking something in the stove. And so palm up, because that's how you're going to stick something in there. If your palm was down, that's just, you're talking about under. So under something. And so that's stove. Telephone, like this. The broom or mop, you're going to say broom or you'll say mop. And it's okay to exaggerate words sometimes with your mouth, because that'll give context of what you're meaning. Again, to shower, you're going to go like that. Sleep, to wake up, peekaboo. So that's peekaboo. Open your eyes to wake up. That's also amazing, because when something amazes you, what do? Whoa, your eyes open up. And so in context of the home, wake up. But when I'm signing Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, amazing, because it opens your eyes. To eat, you're going to go like this. But again, if I'm going to feed you something, I'm not going to eat you, I'm going to feed you, right? To drink, that's to drink. Now, just because you'll see it out in the world, if you make the Y hand, that's an alcoholic beverage, but just a C hand is a non-alcoholic, any type of drink. Coffee, you're grinding the coffee beans. Milk, you're milking the cow. Water, you're drinking water. It's just the W. Again, glass, cup, mug, food, kind of redundant there. And so that's where we kind of went over. And then we did go over fruit. Fruit is with your F, going like this. Now, there's a lot of signs that are revolved around your mouth. That's fruit. If you do it just with your index finger, that can mean sugar. If you go like that, can mean sugar. It can mean candy. But it also means bitter. So depending on what you say with your lips, bitter or candy. Sugar specifically is like this, because sugary delights make you drool, right? Now that's how I remember it. I don't know if that's the actual reasoning, but that's how I remember it. So sugar is like that, but that's sweet, candy, but fruit is sweet, and so that's why that's like that. So page 16 in your books. Yes. Fridge. I think so. Just fridge. Or, I don't know, box. I don't know. You just open a fridge and look in it. And then look in it. So, all right, page 16. We got to get moving. All right, banana. You peel the banana. Just peel it. However many times you do that, you say it, you peel it, that's banana. Orange, you're just squeezing an orange because of the juice. Yeah. So now this is also I want to go over the colors, but this is orange as fruit. It's also orange in color, and so that's orange. Apple, again, you can make the A hand. You can go like that, or actually like that. Apple. And then grape, you're gonna put your left hand out if you're right-handed, and you're gonna go like this. You're representing the clusters of grapes, and so that's grape. You kind of move up your hand, and then sugar again shows you there. Honey is if you make an H, and you do it like that. That's honey. So sugar is open hand. Honey is just with an H. Salt is you're gonna go like this, because when you sprinkle salt, you're sprinkling it. Pepper, you make a P, and you're just gonna shake it, because with salt you're just dribbling a little bit. Pepper, you want a lot on there. I don't know. That's how I think of it. But my wife probably knows the exact reason. But salt, pepper. Here, egg. You're gonna break the egg, and you're cracking the egg. That's egg. Now it's not in here, but I have to say it. Going like that. It's bacon. You know, it's wavy. Yes. You got eggs and bacon. I love it. Meat. You're gonna just like you've seen people. They tell you, if you want meat, raw, it's like this, and if you want it rare, you close your fist and it tightens it all up. But anyways, that's meat. And so it's just any type of meat. But it's also, fun fact, it's also a word for flesh. And so you're talking about flesh or meat when it comes to cooking. You're just going to grab right there and shake, because that's the meaty part of your hand. Rice, you're just going to spell rice, R-I-C-E. There's not a sign for it, you just spell it. Beans, you're going to stick your finger out, and I don't know, my wife told me, she's not in here, she told me the reason why this was beans, but I can't remember. But you're just going to grab your finger like that, that's beans. Now bread, you're going to stick your other hand out, and you're going to slice the bread. That's why it's like that, because a loaf of bread, you slice the bread. Cheese, in the olden days, I don't know how they made cheese, but you press it, and so that's cheese. So that's an old, I go to Walmart. I've never pressed cheese before. I don't know. Spoon, you're going to make, curve your two fingers, just like you're making the end part of a spoon, and you're going to go like this. Because with the spoon, you scoop in it. So that's a spoon. Fork, you're going to stab your hand with the straight fingers, because that's what fork does. You're going to stab it. Here I skipped one. Knife, your two index fingers, and you're going to cut. That's a knife. So spoon, knife, fork. Then plate, this is where a classifier comes in. Plate is like this. And you make a small plate, or you want a big plate. Right? And you can signify that. That's plate. Now, depending on, sometimes you go to a cafeteria, especially in like public schools, they have the rectangle trays. And so the way I was taught is you make a P and you make a shape, the rectangle shape. And that's plate as well. That's plate. But again, context matters, because that could also mean place, like the land that you're talking about. And so desert is dry land or dry place. And so just again, context. But plate, or plate. You draw it out like at a cafeteria. And then dry, because what happens when you're in a dry climate? Dry place. So dry place is the sign for desert. So dry place. Yeah, you have to be careful. We'll get to it in the colors. But so those are food items and household items there. We'll go on. So some of these are a little out of order. Let me just say this. To cook, since we're talking about forks and spoons and things like that. To cook, what do you do when you flip a pancake, whatever, flip eggs? That's cooking. Now, somebody that is a cook, and then you do the person. And that's cook as well. And so some of these next ones, I think these next few, I do want to go over just really, really quick. These are ones that once you just do one time, they kind of just stick, or easy to come back to. But I do want to move on to the colors here in just a little bit. But to stand, you're standing. Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's dancing. If you're talking about break dancing, break dancing. So that's yes, that's stand, that's dance, that's break dancing. Now, deaf people will try to, they do have jokes that only work in sign language. So if that's stand, and this is under, if I did that, what does that look like? No. Do you understand? Do you understand? Yeah, so that's stand, that's understand. Now they'll also try to get you, and they pull this on hearing people all the time, so just be ready for it. This is a sign for wear. And so they'll go like that and try to get you to say underwear. So stand, understand, underwear, wear, that's what it's always just fun. But stand, to sit is to sit, again, one time, that's a command. because I should only have to tell my kids one time, sit down. But if I bounce it, I'm talking about a chair, right? So one time is a command. You bounce it. That's there. To walk, you just go like this. Every once in a while, there's a few people, they'll do this with just the 3 fingers. But every time somebody does that, my wife just pictures a chicken walk. But she's like, we're not chicken. So we do the full hand, and that's walking. To run, you're going to grip your index finger around your thumb, and you're gonna run. You're gonna move your index and you're gonna bend it. You're gonna run. So I don't know why it's not like that, that stand, but I don't know, but like this. So grab your index finger, loop it around your thumb, and then run. But you gotta run. You gotta move it forward. Yes, move it forward, because once you understand that's run, to follow or to chase is you're going like this. So the first one's leading and the second one's following after. Or if you're chasing somebody, the dog was chasing me, and so that's chase or to follow, and that's run. Play, let's play. And catch, you're just going to catch the ball. Again, context, we'll explain. Catch the ball. To jump, here stand, jump. Now to fall, fall, fail, pure, these ones you have to really understand context, because, I wish my wife was in here. I get these a little bit mixed up sometimes. To fall, I think I usually do a P, or you just fall. One's fail. Is fail the one that's straight out? I'll double check. One is straight out is fail, and I think it's to fall is you literally fall off the edge. And I think fail is when you failed. But I'll double check on that one. To break something. That's break. And that's, you broke a bone. That's to break something up. To break, that's just to break. Oh yeah, here we go on fall. You have that, and you fall. And then, there's cook. See, there it is. I really want to let's stop right there on page 22 for that section, for the food and whatnot. Does anybody have, let me ask, because there's some things in here, somebody's favorite fruit that was not in here, that we didn't go over? We went over orange, apple, banana, watermelon. You flick your hand. I think watermelon is where you flick your hand. Because what do you do with the watermelon before you buy it? You flick it. And so I think that's watermelon. What is it? Taco. Oh. No, but there is a sign for it. Yeah. I think, you got me on that one. I think it's like that. Hamburger it looks like cheese. But I want to say that's hamburger. Yeah, because that's how you make it. Going like this with the one flat hand, and then you go like this. Cookies. Now, if you go like this and you go raise it, think of a tiered cake. So you come up, that's cake, because you're baking a cake, or you're baking cookies. And those are good ones to know too. What is that? Sugar cookie, yes. Yep. Chocolate, make a fist, make a C, and you're going to go like this. That's chocolate. I love it. I don't know the sign for vanilla. I love chocolate. Cherries, something like that, because that's bean, cherry. I don't know them all, but banana and oranges were my favorite. So I don't know mango. I think mango you spell out. Pineapple, I don't know. There are signs for pineapple. There are signs for mango. Those are the ones I just don't know. Cherry. Oh, because you got the cherry in the stem. Yeah. Okay. So watermelon, I did that. Watermelon is watermelon. So then you do that. I looked a few of these up. Strawberry. Oh, I looked strawberry up this last week, and I can't think of it. You can Google some of these words. Yes, sir. No, they'll understand that. I mean, we say good or bad, but in American Sign Language, you could say thumbs up. You can say thumbs down. They'll understand that. They'll even understand A-OK. However, I think if you go to China, that's an insult. I think. So, American Sign Language. But that's A-OK. And they'll understand those as well. Yeah. Any questions before we move on to the colors? Strawberry. That's right. Strawberry. So cherries like that. Strawberry. Oh, with your pinky, cherry is like that. Okay, look it up. Strawberry is that. Yeah, I remember that one. All right. Let's go over to page 33. The top of page 33. Do some colors, and then we'll do some animals next. Right now, it's basic vocabulary. As you grow in your vocabulary, you'll grow in your sentences and your grammar. And so, just to go over some colors, yellow, that's Y in the alphabet. So you're just going to shake it. That's yellow. Now, if you touch your ear and then do that, that's gold, because your gold earrings, right? So it's yellow, but your gold earrings. Now, if you're talking about states, that's also California because of the gold rush. That's California, but it's yellow just by itself. Blue, make a B, and you're going to shake the B. That's blue. If you were in Mexican Sign Language, azul, same thing. It's in American Sign Language. So blue, purple, it's not necessarily in this order, but just in the same idea. Purple, shake the P. How many of you got the video on colors this last week? Did you guys watch it? Did it make sense on some of them? Yeah. So, from when I made it years ago. So white is you're going to grab, like you're grabbing the dandruff, you're brushing it off. That's where that comes from. White is that. And so when you're talking about snow, you're going to say white, snow. Some people will do snowstorm. So rain is just like this. But if it's a rainstorm, but a snowstorm, you say white rain. That's snow.
So rain and snow are very similar, except with snow you're going to do the white.
Yeah, you'll just it's not sideways. It's out. Yeah, so out. So that's white. White rain is snow, and then you can say light rain, or you can say rainstorm. You know, just again, that's your actions. Just the filling finger is like, yes, but then white is your whole hand. So white. Pink makes sense once you understand red is one finger, and you're going to go like this because your lips are red, and you just come down. That's red. Pink with the P, same thing. Pink. So red. Now sometimes you'll see people make an R for red. I do that quite often. That's part of C signs, but I'm about half and half. Some C signs, some regular. But that's red, pink is the P. So orange is the same. Now brown, you make a B, and it's a lot of people, and the way I was taught was because the majority of people are brown skin. And so you're outlining the color of the skin. So it's brown. Now if you do that with the T, that's tan. So brown, tan, that's not in here. Gold. Here it looks like he's touching his head, but it's such your ear for gold. Now black, this one is unique. So black is you're going to wipe the sweat off your brow, but you're going to keep a straight finger, because so that's where it comes from. When you wipe the dirt in the sweat, it's black. But if you were to curl your finger, that means summertime. So black is with a straight finger. If you curl your finger, that's summer. So summer's hot, and what makes you sweat? The summertime. So summer and black are very similar because that's where that term came from. Brown, gold, black. Purple, already showed you. Oh, green, same thing. Make a G, and you're going to do that. Just shake it out to the side. Green. Says red here. And those are the colors. They do have more colors, distinct colors for other, like specific colors. But if you don't know it, just spell it out. Like violet, you could spell violet, or indigo. All those, I think they might have some signs for them, but the most basic signs are what we just covered. And so, in fact, also, so yellow is like that. Gold, touch your ear, like that. But if you touch your hair and then do that, that's blonde. So, blonde. Yeah, because it's yellow hair. So that's actually the sign for blonde. For blonde, yeah. No, it's touch your hair, yellow. That's blonde. Gray. I did mention I would look up, and I forgot to do that. So gray is, in that video, I said gray was like this. But I showed that video to my deaf friend, and I think they said, I want to say, like, I think I shook it like this. I think they said to shake it like that. I meant to double check that one, because what you're doing is, the idea is you're mixing white and black. To get gray, you mix the two. And so, whether you're going like that or like that, I have to double check. That one I forgot about. Yes, thank you for that. Gray is mixing those two. So a lot of signs are very similar. To go straight out is black. To curl your finger is summer. But to say because, you're going to touch your forehead and pull out with like summer, but you're going to pull away. So that's because. So those things, those signs are very similar. Dry is just straight out, but ugly, right? It's ugly. Ugly, you curl your finger. So you calling somebody ugly, you're going like that. So interesting. So be precise with those. It is 5:54. I want to go over a few more things. Normally I would like to go back and review and test and make them stick, but because we're not meeting as often because we're only meeting 1 hour a week, I'm kind of want to keep going, and then have you and you guys can review and ask questions. I want to get into some animals before we leave today, unless you guys want to review anything we've gone over. Black is just a straight. Oh, if you go like that, that's because you're touching your head. So to touch this is to think. And again, possessive, open hand, is to know, because you have that knowledge. So that's to know something, to think. And so with that, everything with your head right there, to go like this is like you're meditating. Because there's a lot of, this is one thought. Sometimes I'll go like that, like I'm thinking about something. But there's a lot of thoughts. That's meditating. That's to think. That's to know. And then because, as you're pulling from your brain, you have a reason. Now, to ask the question why, is you touch your forehead and you come out with the why. So that's why. Why would you do that? Some people, another variation is going like that. Like, what was that for? Why did you do that? But the actual sign for why is like that. Crazy is you could either do it with the C, or you could just go like that. That is the actual sign. People make that all the time, but that is real sign language. So the C is just meaning for crazy. The finger just means it's ASL versus C signs. The C is the C sign, and then going like that, that's just crazy. So loco and the C. Amen. All right. It's 5:56. I have 4 minutes. I do want to go over some animals real quick. Let me ask you guys this. What's your favorite animals? Horse. So horse, you're going to go like this with just 2 fingers up, and you're going to bend them. That's horse. Now, a mule has bigger ears. So that's donkey. Mule or donkey. Now, this is a fun fact. When you're talking about the word stubborn, donkeys are stubborn. That is the actual sign for stubborn. And so Democrat's very close to it. But yeah, horse is 2 fingers, donkey is 4 fingers, and that's also means stubborn. All right, next animal. Cat. So you got, just like you like something, just your index finger, you're going to pull the whisker. That's cat. They have whiskers. That's what they're known for, cat. Dog, you're going to pat your thigh and then snap. Because what do you do when you want a dog to come to you? Come here, dog. Come here. And so that's that, and then you snap. That's dog. All right, yes. Yes. Lion is you're going to make a mame. That's lion because they have the mame. Now, fun fact, when it comes to Daniel in the Bible, Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel's sign name is with a D like that for lion. So that's lion, that's Daniel. Now, an old school sign for Daniel is something else, is like this, because this means prophet. And so you might see some people sign for Daniel, might with the D, coming under, because you're revealing, a prophet is revealing something. Daniel was revealing he's a prophet. But that sign has since, I think, been more popularized with the lion, because Daniel and Lion's Den. Yes? Monkey? Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. You go, ooh. I mean, your facial, the deaf can't hear you go, ooh, ooh, ah. But they can see your face go like a monkey. That's now gorilla is monkey. Oh. And is monkey, and then you hit your chest. That's gorilla. You sign monkey chest. That's gorilla. Chicken. They have a beak. Now this is a sign generic for bird. Any type of bird. If you don't know it, that's bird.
How about rooster?
But that is chicken. Rooster. Rooster. I don't know. You say it with your mouth. I don't know the sign for rooster. However, with just your index finger, that's rooster, or that's chicken, and that's also bird. Yeah, yeah. Now, if you do it with all your hand open, that's duck, because ducks have a fatter beak. That's duck. Now, I think it was, if you see talking about birds, I think if you do a P on your neck, it means the parrot, talking bird, right? Because we were talking about the talking bird. So P on the neck is parrot, and then if you go like this, like this. No, with 2 fingers, yeah. 2 fingers like that. That's goose. It's got the long neck. That's the goose. If you don't know any of it, bird, that qualifies for all of them, but that's goose. Yes, ma'am. Turtle. You just your thumb sticking out. Your turtle. Now, to hide something, you just hide. So that's a sign for hide. Like, hey, why are you, it was hiding. I couldn't find it. Like the kids, they like playing hide and seek. So that's hide, but that's turtle. Now, I did see somewhere say that this was sea turtle, but I can't confirm that if that's a regional sign or a real sign. But turtle and then sea turtle. Yes, sir. Alligator. Yep. Alligator. I think alligator and crocodile, I think they're the same sign. It's just a matter of what you say. But, yeah, that's alligator. Yes, ma'am. Dinosaur? I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, that one I don't know. I would imagine this. Right. There is a sign for unicorn, but I can't remember it. I don't know. There is a sign for unicorn, but I can't remember it. Snake, because they have the snake, the fangs, and so the snake is like that. I don't know. Spell it. Yeah, that's snake though. That's also to travel. So to travel is you go like, because what you do on travel, you go down a winding path to travel. And so I usually do, but a snake is more bent, and then that snake to travel, they look very similar. Pizza. We talk about food. You just make a Z, but with 2 fingers. That's pizza. I can't leave that one out. Hold on. Let me see if they have any animals. Okay, Edwin? What's your animal? Whether you're gonna spell that one out, I don't know. Changing or color. Oh, sign for colors. Colors. So That's colors. Yes, sir. Frog. Okay, frog. This is a good one. Frog is ribbit with 2 fingers. Ribbit. And the reason why it's 2 fingers, ribbit, because pig is your whole hand. Now, reason because that's pig, pigs are dirty. So, how many of you seen the Little Rascals? And don't they? What do they do? Don't they do that? That's dirty. And then if you wiggle your fingers, that's dirty. But if you keep your fingers together, that's pig. But then if you just do your 2 fingers, that's ribbit. That's frog. So, yeah, that's a when they look at the girls and go like that, they're calling them dirty. All right, other animals. Let me think. Yes, sir. Skunk. I think it's like that with a K. I think it's like because of the white strip. Yeah, I'm just making a K because that's a P, that's a K. But skunk, K is the dominant, and so I think it's like that. And you outline your head, and so lion, then skunk. I'm pretty sure is that. Yes, sir. Another animal. Fly. You're just gonna make an F, and it's gonna fly. Now mosquito, flies. You actually smack yourself because mosquitoes. Because what happens? Fly, you just shoo away. That's fly. But a mosquito, you smack. Now, with that, I'm just going to say this. Food items. French fry. That's a good one, too. French fry. All right. I think I'm out of animals, but let me hear what you guys have. Don't know dragon. Wolf. Actually, wolf. Or coyote. I think it's coyote. They have the snout. The coyote or the wolf. I think it's coyote, but they have the snout. They both, right. I think it might be for both, but you actually form the snout. Now, I did hear elephant. An elephant is you actually make a trunk with your arm. So, fish. Yep, you just fish. Yes, buddy. Or tiger. I don't know. Scary cat. I don't know. Yes, David. Bear. So actually, the word for animal and bear are very similar. Help me out. Bear is like this. An animal is like this. See, I need to review. I went over all of these, but these are the ones that aren't in the book, and I'm forgetting. But bear is like that because they kill you. Yeah, they claw you. That's bear. Another animal? Jaguar. I don't know. Fast cat. I don't know. What's that? Mouse. Oh, they do have a sign for that, and I can't remember what it is. Yeah, there is a sign. I don't know. I forgot. Here, ready? The ones I don't know, I will have for next class. So we're talking about gray, dinosaur, dragon, pineapple, and then mouse. Any other words I said I didn't know today? Jaguar. And honestly, if you don't know it, spell it out. Yes, ma'am. Mouse. Like that? Because they wiggle their nose or something? Mouse. Yeah. Okay, one more and we're done. That was already asked, but I don't know. I'll put it on here. Oh my goodness. Dead elephant. I don't know. I'm just making things up at this point. All right. That would come under the signifiers, and so you could say little cat, and people would understand, or baby cat. That would understand kitten, but that's the signifiers is what would determine that one. You could say it was a fat cat or a baby cat. That would be the signifiers. Now, word fat is like that, but or yeah, you can do that. That's fat. I learned fat like that. However, when talking about my pregnant wife, it's very important to keep the hands together. Pregnant is like that, hands together. But if you loosen them, that means fat. So if somebody asks my wife if she's pregnant, that's one thing. But if somebody asks my wife, are you? That's a different question. Totally different question. What is what? Thin. You're thin. No, thin. So like a walking stick, that's skinny. That's thin. That's line and thin. So there we go. Yeah. Pregnant. That's why it's important to keep those signs together. How are you doing? What is your name? Cody, and then Karina. All right. I was about to ask if you were deaf or not because you were signing. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. You know some sign language. Good. I'm glad you said that. We're just a few minutes late. Hearing is like that again because you use your mouth to speak. Just kind of going over some random words real quick. So, all right. Any questions? So if you're here for the sign language class.
I was in another place.
No, you're good. We normally meet from 5 to 6, and so we're just now getting over.
Yeah.
But if you want to stick around, I'll go over with what we went over today.
Is it a different church over at the American Legion place or a different site?
So at the American Legion, just a few blocks over on Collins Street, that is Guyana's River Baptist Church. We are very like-minded. Yes, ma'am. That's an independent Baptist church. We're an independent Baptist church. That church just got planted back in March when they officially became a church. Pastor there is a good friend of mine. We meet on a regular basis. And in fact, he has a Bible study on Thursday, I think at 6 at his house. But yes. So he's the pastor. Yeah, so he's the pastor, Wayne Mathon, he's the pastor of that church there, but very like-minded church. You go to either church, you're going to find a very similar feel and doctrine. So, awesome. No worries. Just stick around, and I'll go over with what we went over today with you, and I'd love to do that with you. Any other questions? No, go ahead. Sure, no, it is a live stream. Now, the way our live stream works is it usually takes about a day or so to actually upload to YouTube. We are on YouTube and we are on Facebook. This live stream is only on YouTube. And so if you just Google East Drive Baptist Church on YouTube or Facebook, you can find the link to both of those from both of those websites. And so it'll be uploaded tomorrow, basically. This class will be available tomorrow on YouTube. So if you do have any questions throughout the week, send them to me. And if you want to sign something, or maybe you learned a new sign, and send it, video yourself, send it. And you could send it to the group, or you could send it to me individually. And if you have questions like that, anything like that, just let us know. Just let me know. Well, let me close in prayer, and then we'll be dismissed. So, dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the class. I pray that you would just, again, help us to learn these things. And Lord, give us wisdom and help me to be accurate with these signs and be able to catch them so I can teach them right, Lord. And I just, again, thank you for the opportunity to meet. And we just pray that you're honored and glorified through it all. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. If you do want to stick around for just a little bit and look at some of the books I have up here, one of the things that I carried with me is I like this one here. It's a dictionary, and it explains it very clearly on how to do signs. Now, it is an older book. It's like 30 years old, so not all the signs are updated, but it is good. It's fun to look through. And then this one here, this will teach you more grammar when it comes to more like ASL 2 and ASL 3. But it teaches more grammar, and it does have some vocabulary in it. But this is the book that my wife took in college for interpreting. And so it does have some really good stuff in there. And then she got it for me when I was going through the class as well. But if you want to look through these and see if you like, they're up here for that reason. And so I just want to make them available to you. I don't have to talk about all of them, but you can. Some of them are thesauruses. and teach you just more words for the same word or the same sign. And then some are dictionaries. And so they're just some neat resources. If you want to look at them, take your time too. But we are dismissed. So.